It may look like I'm in a jungle, though I'm not. I'm at the Triumph showroom. There's a sense of occasion here, and they've created all of this because the Tiger Cub is in town. This is the new Triumph Tiger Sport 660. And I call it the Tiger Cub, but it's not exactly a derivative of the regular Tiger adventure motorcycle that we've seen so far. This is the Tiger Sport. This is the keyword. The Sport essentially tells you that this is a sport tourer and not an out-and-out adventure bike or an off-road vehicle like the regular Tiger 800 or 900 that we've seen in the market so far. It is sort of like the Tiger 850 Sport. It has similar intent, but this is more on the sportier side, not so much on the off-road side, which is the reason why right in the front you will see a 17-inch wheel, and you also get a 17 at the rear. In fact, the underpinnings for this motorcycle come from the Trident 660. That means that this engine is the 660 triple that we've already sampled in the Trident. It puts out a similar power and torque as well, but Triumph has also ensured that 90% of the torque is available from a low RPM range, which means that carrying a pillion, carrying luggage shouldn't be a problem. But to that effect, what they've done is they have used a different frame. So while the design of the main frame is similar to the Trident, the subframe, which is not a bolt-on, which is not removable, but the subframe is slightly different. It accommodates a wider seat for the pillion, and you'll also see these pannier mounts right here. So it also tells you that it is designed to take luggage. On that note, it has a factory fit option of 3 panniers, both on both the sides and of course the top box as well, and you can have it color coded as well. In fact, there are over 40 accessories that you can have with this motorcycle. One of which I think will catch your fancy, and that is the seat. I'm going to come to that in a bit. Now this seat height by default is 835 millimeters. So that makes it quite tall. Also add to it that this motorcycle is 216 kilos. So we've all had that little gripe with the Tiger that it's heavy, it's tall, and that will continue with the 660 as well. However, with the low seat option, you can bring it down to 800 millimeters. You can bring the seat height down to 800 millimeters. So I'm just going to pull this out and quickly show it to you. So if you look at the seat profile, the one that I have in my hand is slightly slimmer than the seat that you see here. So of course you will have to forego a bit of that comfort, but you will get a more accommodating seat height. And like I said, there are about 40 accessories that you will be able to choose from. These aren't the exact ones, but you will have similar top boxes, color-coded top boxes, side panniers, etc. As for the tire sizes, they are exactly similar to that of the Trident. The gearing is also pretty much the same as the Trident. The tuning of the engine is also pretty much the same. But that one complaint that you had with the Trident of the lower ground clearance, that has been addressed. You have 12 millimeters additional ground clearance, and the wheelbase has gone up by 11 millimeters. So that essentially is all done to give this motorcycle touring credentials. Now, since we are doing the walk around, let me also talk about the design. This is easily the sharpest looking motorcycle that you have at any Triumph dealership at the moment. This is a fresh design language, not something that we've seen on any of their motorcycles. It has vibes of, yeah, Yamaha Aprilia. You could also compare it to the Triumph Daytona. It has that sharp looking front end. That sporty look is certainly going to work in its favor. Sporty colors as well. You see the red here. There's also going to be a blue. There's going to be a gray color, very similar to that mud flap gray that you see here. And for those who want that understated look, that gray I think will work really well. You get LED headlamps, of course. This is not an air dam. You can see that. But these are LED headlamps, LED turn blinkers. That's the radiator guard. You get a single piece radiator, unlike the split units that we've seen on the Tiger 900. Because again, this is intended for tarmac use, something that you will take on the highway. So this radiator should work just fine even in our conditions. As far as the riding ergonomics go, this has the straight handlebar, of course, but you'll also see these risers here to give you that slightly more upright riding stance that you'd expect on a tourer of this order. And on that same topic, you also get a touring windscreen. It is quite tall. How does it work in the real world? Is there a lot of buffeting? That's something that we are going to find out very soon. But I really like the equipment levels here. You also get this adjustable lever right here. You'll see that. And in terms of the braking hardware, You get ABS with twin discs up front, Nissan calipers, and a single disc at the rear. The swing arm is different than the Trident. That also gives it the additional wheelbase that we've spoken about. The exhaust is still the underbelly kind, but with that additional ground clearance, hopefully it shouldn't be a worry. What I don't like much in terms of the design is this very chrome finished footrest stay. I don't like it much. I think it's going to get scratched very easily, especially if you're going to be wearing adventure boots. So that is not something that I've not liked. I think they could have just gone with a black finish like the rest of the parts. That is a bit of an eyesore for me. But otherwise, I think the design looks stunning. I also like the design of the tail. It's nice and sharp, very much like the Trident. I also like how they've done the grab rails, big fat grab rails. And of course, because this is an India spec model, there's also going to be a sari guard on the side. And Triumph haven't installed that right now, but yeah, there will be a sari guard on the side. This is the preload adjustment. So when you have your pillion and your luggage, you would want to adjust the preload. So that preload adjustability is all the suspension adjustment that you get on this motorcycle. But the suspension itself is longer travel compared to the Trident. 150 millimeters of travel on this suspension, front and rear. So that should be enough for most of the highway touring that this motorcycle will do and most of the potholes that it will encounter on the way. And finally, the console. It's still with the plastic wraps, very similar to what we've seen on the Trident in terms of the layout. Of course, a few design changes here and there, but very similar in terms of the basic layout, which means that you get this twin color display down here and you get the tachometer on top. This is the gear indicator, the speedo. This also comes with 2 riding modes. That button there, the M button, is going to let you cycle between 2 modes. There's road and there is rain. Okay, I think the bike needs to be on for this, but yeah, you get 2 riding modes. You'll have road and rain. The rain will of course dull down the throttle response, something similar to what we've seen on the Trident. It will also make the traction control a bit more alert. Speaking of traction control, you also get switchable traction control on this bike. So you can switch it off if you want to, but again, let me reiterate, this is not an off-roading motorcycle, so I'm not sure if you'd want to do that. It's a good safety net to have, and for the kind of buyers that this bike is targeting, people who are looking to buy their first big sport tourer, I think this is an excellent option. How does it perform on the road? Something that we are intrigued to find out, and we'll do that very soon. We will be riding this motorcycle in Dehradun, the same place where we rode the Trident 660, and we'll bring you that review on Overdrive. So stay tuned to Overdrive as we bring you all this info. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please share this video with your biker buddies and anyone who is looking to buy the Tiger Sport 660.